That's the million-dollar question. I think we hear so many different answers. I think we're in great hands. I think that the job our athletic directors are doing in the Big Ten has been yeoman's work in terms of understanding how important it is. I'm a big Dan Gavitt fan. I know he's got a very, very difficult job, but we're going to find out, September 16th when that comes out. And I think we'll have, there's no doubt we're going to have a season. I think we'll have a great conference season. I think the Big Ten is going to be better than ever. What non-league games look like and time frames, we'll see. But, I think that this Big Ten basketball season will be the best ever. And I think that that's going to be played out in the rankings and how good the teams are. And I do believe we're going to play.
Do you have a model that you would prefer?
I think getting league games in is the most important part. I think there could be some potential challenges as we move back into late January and February when the normal students come back. I think most everybody's taken an elongated break. So getting league games in there would be very, very important. And then maybe non-league games on the back end. Again, it all depends on when we start. The non-league games could go away if there's outbreaks, but I think the consistency of trying to get league games in, it just makes sense to try to do that right away and do that in what I call the soft bubble over the break without students.
How big a challenge then would it be to put together an NCAA tournament bracket if you just don't have a sense? I mean, if the Big Ten only plays the Big Ten, if the ACC only plays the ACC, and so on and so forth, being able to gauge, well, how good is each of these leagues this year?
Yeah, and I think that I think there will be some non-league. I do. I believe that. I don't know what that number is. I also am a big believer that it's COVID 2020, and it's going to be unfair. But I do think you might have some teams play 16 games. You might have some teams play 22 just because of what it is. We've seen that in baseball, but baseball is now working and functioning at an unbelievable level. But some teams had to miss some games, and that's going to be the reality of COVID in this season, I think.
Let's focus in on your team in particular, and I would venture to say there are a few coaches in America who had a better summer than Brad Underwood. I mean, getting Dosunmu and Kofi Cockburn, both of whom had explored the NBA draft, getting both of those guys to come back. Give us a sense of how you found out from each one of those guys that they were returning to school.
Yeah, Io was just a simple phone call, and we had talked previously a couple weeks prior to that, and I really left Io alone through a lot of the process. And very intelligent. He's got a great head on him. He's surrounded by great family, and it was for him. It was an information gathering process, and then making a decision. And funny story was he called and told me. He said, "Coach, I'm coming back and I'm going to put out a video, and I'm going to put it out now." And I said, "Well, is there any way I can at least call Josh Whitman, our athletic director, and tell him?" And he said, "Coach, I'm putting it out now." So everybody got it just as we did. And then silently, when he hung up the phone, I went and did backflips down my street, and I was excited for him and us. And I'm excited for him because it was a decision that he felt great about. And and then Kofi was a couple of days later, and the same thing. It was, you're happy for them because they're excited about the decision they made, and they're comfortable with it. And that's been kind of my philosophy with them. I need them to feel very secure in those decisions. And both those young men are great guys and great kids. And then I think they made really good decisions that will help them in the future.
There's tremendous hype surrounding this team. You mentioned to me, Andy Katz, our friend and colleague, rating you guys as the preseason #1 team in his rankings. What do you tell your team about dealing with those kinds of expectations?
Now that we're a little older, and we are old for the first time in my tenure here, I hope with that comes some maturity and understanding. We'll have a bullseye on our back, and we've got to handle that. And so we've talked a lot about that through the summer, and we'll continue to as we build towards the season.
Coach, final thing I want to ask you, you were talking about the weight gain from some of your players in the off season. I guess they got it from you, huh? You just transferred it over to them because you lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah, that's been the positive of COVID. It's forced me to relearn a golf swing, but it's been worth it. No, and I mean I had an artificial knee put in a couple of years ago, and I've always taken a lot of pride in being able to work out, and that kind of stopped. And to be quite honest, and my daughter showed me a picture. Olivia Decker was interviewing me after the Iowa game at half court, and my daughter said, "Dad, you've got 3 chins." And that was enough motivation that I needed right there. I've walked a lot. I've really watched my diet, and we're about 35, 36 pounds. We're trying to get the last 10, 15 off, and I feel better than I've felt in a long time because of it.
That's why we have kids, right? To point out our inadequacies to
Absolutely. And believe me, I've got 3 women in my house. None of them are bashful.
I've got 4 in mine, so 5 if you include the dog. Brad Underwood, always a pleasure. Thanks a lot for your time, Coach. Really nice to catch up.
Look forward to seeing you in person, Dave. Thank you.